Late Chief of Staff to the President, Abba Kyari, laid to rest at Gudu Cemetery, Abuja. Correspondent takes a look at life and times of Abba Kyari as well-wishers pay tribute. And Nigeria to produce cheaper and easy diagnosis rapid test kits for COVID-19.
We are very happy that SHESCO can contribute a laboratory that will help in testing the SARS-CoV-2.
Hello and thanks for joining us on the news desk at 3 on NTA News 24. We're reaching you live from Abuja. I am Dennis Adegunloye. The remains of the late Chief of Staff to the President, Malam Abba Kyari, who died yesterday in Lagos, arrived in Abuja Saturday morning and have been buried at the Gudu Cemetery after private funeral prayers at his residence. A statement from the Senior Special Assistant to the President, Media and Publicity, Abba Kyari, says, as advised by the protocols put in place by the Nigeria Center for Disease Control, NCDC, and the Federal Ministry of Health on social distancing, the burial marks the end of all ceremonies and there will be no condolence visits to family and the presidency. Well-wishers and all other Nigerians are advised to pray for the repose of the soul of the late Chief of Staff. A condolence register will be opened at the office of the Secretary to the Governments of the Federation from Sunday for those who are able to use the window permitted for movements by the FCT administration. The All Progressives Congress mourns the death of Malam Abba Kyari, Chief of Staff, and one of the closest advisors to President Muhammadu Buhari. The party, in a statement by its National Publicity Secretary, Lanre Isa Onilu, says even in death, the fond memories and indelible strides Malam Abba Kyari left on earth will be celebrated for a long time. The APC remembers late Kyari as a cerebral Nigerian who excelled in his private dealings, professional endeavors and public service. The President, the statement added, has indeed lost a competent, trusted, loyal, strong right-hand man and a long-time advisor who promoted, protected and defended his interests in good times and adversity. The party condoles with Malam Abba Kyari's immediate family, the President, leaders and members of the All Progressives Congress, as well as the people and government of Borno State over the painful loss. And the People's Democratic Party has described the death of the Chief of Staff to the President, Malam Abba Kyari, as depressing and saddening. A statement from the party's National Publicity Secretary, Kola Olobondia, comforts President Muhammadu Buhari, the Kyari family, and the government and people of Borno State, as well as the nation at large, for this painful loss, and prays that Almighty Allah grants Malam Abba Kyari eternal rest. The PDP similarly commiserates with families of all the victims of the COVID-19 pandemic and prays for the speedy recovery of the sick who are receiving treatment in various isolation centres. Former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, in a similar statement, condoled President Muhammadu Buhari over the death of his Chief of Staff, describing the deceased as a loyal aide. In the meantime, Plateau State Governor and Chairman Northern Governors Forum Simon Bakola-Long has expressed deep shock over the death of the Chief of Staff to the President, Malam Abba Kyari. Governor Lalong, in a condolence message, sympathized with his immediate family, Presidents Muhammadu Buhari and the entire nation for what he described as a monumental loss. A statement from the Director of Press and Public Affairs to the Plateau State Governor, Dr. Makut Simon Macham, says, Governor Lalong recalls the friendship and support which the late Chief of Staff always extended to members of the Forum and Plateau State, describing him as a man who had zeal for the peace and progress of Nigeria. He also prayed God to grant the soul of the deceased eternal rest and give the family the fortitude to bear the loss. President of the Senate, Ahmad Lawan, and Speaker House of Representatives, Femi Gbajabiamila, have described as shocking and sad the news of the passing of one of the Chief of Staff to the President, Malam Abba Kyari. The Speaker and Senate President expressed heartfelt condolences to Kyari's family over the great loss. Condoling with President Muhammadu Buhari, they described Malam Kyari as very competent, dedicated and loyal aide who was a pillar in the Buhari administration. They extended their sympathy to the government and people of Borno State over the passage of a great son of the state. They prayed Almighty God to grant the Chief of Staff and other Nigerians that have died as a result of this pandemic peaceful repose. And the Nigeria Labour Congress has condoled with President Muhammadu Buhari and the entire family of late Malam Abba Kyari, former Chief of Staff to the President. A condolence message by the NLC President, Ayuba Waba, to the Secretary to the Government of the Federation on behalf of the Congress says the news of the demise of Malam Abba Kyari caused by COVID-19 complications is unfortunate. There is no gainsaying the fact that while he was alive, Malam Abba Kyari wielded a stabilizing influence in the government of President Buhari. Malam Abba Kyari will be surely missed for his dedicated and steadfast service to the country. NLC prays Almighty Allah to forgive Abba Kyari his wrongs and reward his good deeds abundantly with Al-Jannat Firdausi. Nigeria has lost a great man, a key figure in the present administration's cabinet. Before his death, he was the Chief of Staff to President Muhammadu Buhari. In this report, Adebola Brooklyn Sunday takes a look at the life and times of the man Abba Kyari.
Late Abba Kyari, a Kanuri man from Borno State, means many things to many people from different strata who he had contact with at one time or the other. A disciplined technocrat and politician par excellence, late Abba Kyari graduated with a bachelor's degree in sociology from the University of Warwick and also received a bachelor's degree in law from the University of Cambridge in 1993, where he also obtained a master's degree in law in 1994. He was called to the Nigerian bar after attending the Nigerian Law School. He later attended the International Institute for Management Development in Lucerne, Switzerland, and participated in the program for management development at the Harvard Business School in 1992 and 1994. Malam Kyari worked for the law firm Fani Kayode and Sowemimo before he became the editor of the New Nigerian newspaper. Between 1990 and 1995, he served as a commissioner for forestry and animal resources in Borno State. He was the secretary to the board of African International Bank Limited. Before his appointment as a chief executive officer of the United Bank for Africa, he was an executive director in charge of management services. In 2002, he was appointed a director of Unilever Nigeria and also later served on the board of ExxonMobil Nigeria. In 2015, President Muhammadu Buhari appointed him as his chief of staff when he was elected president. Kyari was an influential figure within the Buhari's administration. During the administration's first term, he worked mainly behind the scene to implement the president's agenda.
This shame of importing food, we are putting an end to it. And this is the beginning of it. Hundreds of millions of people in Saprat have been taken out of poverty. The rural economy is booming. Unskilled people in the cities are today laborers. And at any point, any brand-new product you go to is a marketplace. That is why people believe in you, regardless of what anybody says.
He was also one of the few officials that had cordial relationships with President Buhari.
We have had instances to talk on one-to-one with him. I take him as a very good man, and he contributed his quota to the development of this country. We'll miss him.
Only Allah can provide who is going to step into it and assist the president as he has done in several quarters.
He died on 17th of April from complications related to COVID-19. Adebola, Brooksland Sunday, NTA News.
The lifetime times of late Abba Kyari. All right, let's focus now on the specifics of the COVID-19 pandemic. A suspected coronavirus patient in Jigawa State whose sample has been taken for examination passed on this Friday. This is coming as the Jigawa State government takes over a COVID-19 positive person who was earlier apprehended on transit and quarantined in Kano over alleged stigmatization by Kano health officials.
The victim, who happened to be one of the 2 migrant workers intercepted in Kano from Lagos en route to Jigawa early this week, tested positive for COVID-19 following the alleged unhealthy treatment exhibited by the health workers at the isolation center in Kano. Jigawa State Governor Muhammad Badru Abubakar ordered for the transfer of the victim from Kano to Dutse, the Jigawa State capital, where he is receiving treatment.
And the normal procedure is, according to Center for Disease Control, is wherever your sample is taken, they give an EPID number, and that patient is yours. So you take care of that patient. We've tried, we spoke with the officials of the Ministry of Health in Kano, to manage the patient, but that it had proven really very difficult. So His Excellency, the Executive Governor, gave a directive that we cannot allow the patient to suffer. So we have to transfer that patient to our isolation center in Jigawa in Dutse. He's now receiving treatment.
Officials of Kano Task Force on COVID-19 could not be reached for comment on this issue. On the suspected positive patient whose sample was taken 2 days ago, having exhibited symptoms similar to COVID-19, Dr. Zakari confirmed that he died this Friday before the result is out. The result, according to him, will determine whether or not the state has recorded its first index case of coronavirus. From Dutse, Muhammad Musa Askira, NTA News.
As at 10 minutes past 10 p.m. on Friday, April 17th, the Nigeria Center for Disease Control, NCDC, announced 51 new cases of COVID-19 across the country, bringing the number of confirmed cases to 493. Of the 51 new cases, 32 are in Lagos, 6 in Kano, and 5 in Kwara State. The FCT, Oyo, and Katsina states have 2 cases each, while Ekiti and Ogun states have 1 case each. 159 patients have been discharged, with the death toll rising to 17. This is the News Desk at 3 on NTA News 24, reaching you live from Abuja. Still to come on the news. Etsunupe flags off distribution of palliative food items across the 6 local government areas of the Emirate.
With this gesture, small thing, but it's very big. We'll be able to carry our people along.
Now believe this Koroti, you know, fit touch black man. If you like, gather the whole Niger, come together, make the cough. Nothing.
Which one you want?
Give me V&D.
I beg, get small pieces.
How much you want to give him?
Give me 200. Take your change now. You don't want your changes.
My people, this coronavirus, na serious matter. May una wash una hands regularly. Come use alcohol-based hand sanitizer. If you no see water, wash your hand. Make una sit down for house. You see this virus, so e no get leg. Now we dey waka kurukere. No waka around, make the virus for die. No forget, say, the betterment of our people. Now for your handy day.
This message is from the Akinfade Foundation in partnership with the National Orientation Agency with support from MacArthur Foundation.
Thanks for remaining with us. Now, the Minister of Science and Technology, Dr. Ogbonnaya Onu, has directed the management of the Raw Materials Research and Development Council to design and produce unique face masks as part of efforts to curtail COVID-19 in the country. The face masks to be produced must be in line with the standards set by the World Health Organization, WHO. Dr. Onu, who gave the directive during a facility visit to the headquarters of the council, further said the production of the face masks will save Nigeria the much-needed foreign exchange being depleted through importation aside from curtailing COVID-19. The minister was at the council to inspect its inputs into the COVID-19 management in Nigeria.
That this council will take this charge we are giving to you seriously, and within the next few weeks we'll come up with a design that is standardized in conformity with World Health Organization standards that can help us to mass produce face masks in Nigeria.
Dr. Onu commended the council for using wild tubers in producing pharmaceutical starch used in industries, thereby saving Nigeria billions of naira. According to him, Nigeria cannot afford to import medical materials at this moment, adding that this could strain the nation's foreign exchange reserve and harm the economy. Meanwhile, Nigeria is on the verge of producing less expensive and easy diagnosis rapid test kits for COVID-19. The Shida Science and Technology Complex, an agency under the Federal Ministry of Science and Technology, is spearheading the research in Nigeria in collaboration with some local and international institutions in the production process of the test kits. Director Biotech Research Center in the agency, Shola Odunsanya, explained that the rapid test kits, which are being developed locally with the aptamer-based test methodology, will be similar to the pregnancy test strips, and the procedure can provide reliable test results within 30 minutes. This will be an advantage over the usual test done with a PCR machine, which takes 2 days to get results and a limited coverage of the population.
It's called ribo switches because they can switch genes on and off. This particular aptamer we want to use is specific for SARS-CoV-2, the virus in question. So this tells us the virus is in the person's body or it is not there.
Minister of Science and Technology, Dr. Ogbonnaya Onu, who inspected facilities at the complex, said the kits will help actualize the federal government's target of 4,000 tests per day.
And we are very happy that SHESCO can contribute a laboratory that will help in testing the SARS-CoV-2. We have 3 PCRs here, a real-time PCR and 2 others, and all the supporting equipment. There will just be some little upgrading in terms of making provision for reagents and all that for them to be able to do this.
Other equipment developed by the agency to fight COVID-19 are face shields and nose masks. Now, the Itsunupe and Chairman Niger State Council of Traditional Rulers, Alhaji Yahaya Abubakar, has flagged off the distribution of palliative food items across the 6 local government areas of the Emirate. Jones Ajayi reports that the items distributed were donated by corporate organizations and well-to-do individuals from within and outside the Emirate.
Items distributed are 4,000 cartons of noodles, 145 bags of rice, 10 sacks of maize, 30 bags of semovita, and 30 cartons of Maggi cubes. Etunupe and Chairman Niger State Council of Traditional Rulers, Alhaji Yahaya Abubakar, said in addition to these items, cash donations were also received, which will be used to purchase food items. Yahaya Abubakar said the Emirate Council was prompted to seek for the donations so as to cushion the effect of the lockdown caused by the pandemic. The monarch appreciated all those who contributed through food items and cash and gave the assurance that the items will be shared appropriately. He, however, called on the committee saddled with the responsibility of distributing the items to have the fear of God.
With this gesture, small thing, but it's very big, we'll be able to carry our people along. And this challenge that has come to us, inshallah, it will come to us.
Chairman of the committee and district head Edokota, Alhaji Abubakar Shaba, assured the Etudupe that the committee will not disappoint him.
Our intention is that we should distribute those items through the ward by ward.
The local government areas that make up Bida Emirate Council are Bidda, Bako, Kacha, Lavu, Mokwa, and Edati. Jones Ajayi, NTA News.
Now finding themselves temporarily without a job due to the lockdown, more than 70 caddies are bouncing back to their feet with support from members of a Nigerian military golf club. Correspondent Najatu Tijani reports.
A life of sports, helping golfers cart their clubs and offering support on and off the golf course is what they know. But that duty has ceased for the moment because of the lockdown. Now that the tables have turned, the caddies are getting support from those they used to help.
The caddies form a substantive part of our barrack children to whom we owe the responsibility of appropriate grooming and mentoring through constructive engagements. The club has the expectation of some of the caddies becoming professional golfers in the nearest future. In the short term, the club also serves as a veritable avenue for financial benefits to the caddies to support their well-being.
So they do not have any means of supporting themselves or supporting their families. Therefore, we thought it wise to just give this little palliative that the members thought it very necessary and very wise to support this caddy.
Observing the rules of social distancing and wearing protective gear, the more than 70 caddies receive various food items to tide them and their families during this uncertain period. Naja'atu Tijani, NTA News.
Premier League clubs committed to finishing the 2019-2020 season. United legend dies after contracting coronavirus. Over now to our sports desk.
At a meeting on Friday, clubs were expected to